Welcome back, Time Crunch fans, TDFF fans, and my co-host Renee Eastman. Today at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, was it all about the breakaway or was it all about the sprint? We'll recap the stage and then talk about what it means to be in the break, to potentially win or lose from the break, and the art of coaching, maybe some fueling, maybe some other nerdy topics, and whatever else Renee wants to ask me today. So that's where we're at. Renee, give us the stage recap and tell us what's up.
Adam, thanks. Great to see you this morning. Well,
Likewise.
it was a exciting stage. I think it was exciting for you and me in particular. Maybe not for the whole race. So I woke up early this morning. I started following on the race's live ticker. As much as this race is awesome and we're getting awesome coverage, we do not get start to finish coverage. So here's a little pro tip for you guys. If you are obsessed like I am and you want to follow the race from go to the Tour de France website, follow along. There's plenty of updates, little live video clips. And I was super excited from go because our friend Alison Jackson was in the main break of the day.
Yes, she was. And to that point, and to the pro tip, where my location was at, didn't have Wi-Fi, so I had to skedaddle out of there and drove with my wife down to a place where we had Wi-Fi, and here we are now. And along the way, Renee was like, "Here's the live stream. Check this out." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Because I didn't have a clue because I didn't have any way to listen. So thanks to Renee for keeping me in the loop.
It was like the olden days when you had to get the little Twitter and text updates on what's going on in the race. Exactly. Anyway, just in my fashion I've been doing all week, my when to watch alert for you guys who want to stay spoiler free. Go to the last 20K because that's when the race starts getting a little bit dramatic. And you definitely don't want to miss the last 10K. Today was just a sprint stage, very flat, not a lot of wind, not a lot of hills to break up the pack. But our buddy Alison Jackson, she and a group of 4, it looks like they went on that first KOM climb, or I guess the only KOM climb, which is about 150 kilometers to go. So they were in the break basically all day long. Yep. It was Alison Jackson of EF Oatly, Sarah Martin of Movie Star, Anise Catalina Soto from Laboral, and Clements Latimer from Arkea. Is kind of a fun break because 3 out of the 4 national champions. Alison from Canada, Sarah from Spain, and Soto from where's she from? Cuba. Anyway, a lot of national champions in the break.
Yeah.
The break just rolled along. They had like 4 minutes at one point. With 100K to go, I'm texting Adam like, 4 minutes. Oh my gosh. Because 4 minutes seems like a lot, but eventually Team SD Works started pulling because they had the big favorite today, Weebus. And then I don't know why, but Chloe Dygart, American superstar, went to the front with about 25K to go and brought down about a minute the gap, just like that. Anybody who is watching the race, Chloe's really easy to pick out because she's always wearing pink shoes. That's her thing. She's only pink shoes in the peloton. But the reason why she can pull that back all by herself, she's a former world champion time trialist and pursuitist. She's a gold medalist in the team pursuit. Like, she is an engine, and it is really hard for a group of 4 to combat the power of Chloe Dygart. So anyway, between her and SD Works, they brought it back with about 6K to go. Right before they got caught, the brakes started attacking each other, kind of broke stuff up. So we settled in with 5K to go. We're like, okay, sprint time. Time for Weebus. And then big crash. big crash, Adam.
Super stoked, by the way.
It was around a corner with about 3.5K to go. It totally smashed up the field. And the biggest news of the day, I think, was that Demi Vollering, GC favorite, 2023 winner, went down. She looked pretty hurt. She did finish. She didn't lose any time. There's a rule with the racing that within the last 5 kilometers of a sprint stage, if you get delayed by a mishap, you won't lose any time. So she did finish way behind everybody, but they don't count that time. So the result is that's okay, but we don't know how she'll be tomorrow. Now, on to the sprint in the last couple of kilometers. Our hero of the day, Alison Jackson, was still up there. It looked like she was trying to set up her teammate, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal for the day. I mean, it was a sprinter's stage, and we'll talk more about the breakaway here in a minute, but Noemi Rugg, the sprinter for EF Oatly Cannondale, and, if everything went to plan, it would have been leading out Noemi.
Yeah.
But with H off the front, kind of getting swallowed up, she did a really great job of, just changing, the tactic right there. She's like, okay, sat on a couple wheels and then started working for Noemi, which was awesome because I texted you, and I was like full honey badger mode right now. Because you can tell she was still fresh. She was, third wheel doing work, going for it.
I was blown away. And then Rook went to the front with 300 meters to go, or I don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to be, the post race quarterback afterwards and say that you know everything about tactics. Who knows? Wouldn't have been what I would have done necessarily. It did seem like she had a good jump. I mean, she snapped away from the group, and that group had Voss and Vibus and everyone else in it. But good snap. But then got caught, and Vibus got the win.
Yeah, with Voss hot on her heels, so those guys go 1-2. American making Drabstrab up there sprinting for fourth.
I saw that.
She's on Team Picnic Post NL. They lost their big sprinter Charlotte Cool. She dropped out yesterday. Effects of a crash from another race, but anyway, great to see Megan up there. Weavis win, no surprises, a small change in GC. Voss is now back in the yellow just due to the time bonuses. And really the top, not too much change in the top 10. Demi's still up there, PFP still up there, Kim LaCourte's still up there. So no big time loss from them. The only other GC update that we had already talked about yesterday is Longo Borghini is actually out of the race. She was already out of GC, but she's just not feeling well. So anyway, I would call it pretty status quo, especially among the GC favorites, but we got to see what's going to happen with Demi overnight.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big decision, right? If Demi, pulls out of the whole race or stays in, that crash is going to affect her. I do believe. Now, we saw last year she crashed, lots of drama around that, but she still came back and fought like a freaking champ. So you never count her out. She's tough as nails, but I mean, anytime that you hit the deck, Renee, as you know, riding your bike the next day is probably the last thing you want to do.
Oh, for sure. I've fallen,
let alone riding hard.
But yeah, with a bunch of people. Talk about a tough cookie. Do you remember that she finished last year's tour with a broken coccyx?
Yeah.
She was, only lost by 4 seconds of the race. So that's she's
I was talking with Kristen last night, and I was like, well, remember, she had a broken freaking hip when she did what she did last year. And anyway, so yeah, quite the stage. And I think that for our listeners, it'd be good to talk about that breakaway, because I think the asterisk or the caveat is, you got to have the guts to go in the break, but it's not always the strongest riders, even though there were some strong riders in there today. Yeah. So to you, Renee, I mean, my kind of take on it is when a break goes at this level, sometimes it is just like a gutsy, move with a ton of grit and it sticks. other times when there's no, in this case, there's no time bonuses up the way, no huge things for the peloton to go for. They'll let an established break go and get some time, and that's up to the peloton to decide, right? And then it's on the riders in the break to capitalize on that opportunity.
Yeah, none of the riders up in the break today were a GC threat.
Yep.
I don't know how much time any of them had already lost, but none of them are known as climbers. They're not going to win the race. So even if they had finished with 4 minutes at the end of the day, it's not a threat to Demi. It's not a threat to PFP. However, the dynamics of letting them go is there's it can just settle the peloton down a little bit. Like, okay, let the break go, and then we'll just be orderly. And whoever's interested in either maintaining GC or the stage, we're going to pull a little bit. But if there is no break, then the pack can get really chaotic. It's just like attack, and it's a little more dangerous. It's not as smooth. So a lot of times they let the break go, knowing that, if we just let them dangle out front by a certain amount, we can bring them in before the finish. And we saw that SD Works was doing most of the work all day because they had the stage favorite, and none of the GC teams really had a vested interest in bringing him back. So
it's important to recognize when and how a break goes, and at the level of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift or the men's Tour de France, it is usually when the peloton kind of as an amoeba, right, as a one thing, decides it's okay. Like that's an okay combination of riders, and we don't need to do anything with it just yet. And then as the race evolves, then they decide when, if they go, when they go, how hard they go. And Chloe, I guess, to your point, yeah, I don't know exactly why, but I'm also not going to sit here and say, I know everything about race tactics at this level.
Yeah, it's beyond my scope to know why Chloe brought that back, other than she had Neodoma right on her wheel. Maybe she was just trying to keep Neodoma safe, because it was kind of technical there coming back.
Yeah. I was going to say the only reason I could was, number one, self-preservation, and number two, for Cassia Neodoma Finney, by the way, is to keep everybody safe, and generally too, when you have steady, like, hard riding going through technical stuff, that makes for a safer peloton regardless, as opposed to kind of wide and then all of a sudden, there's something, and then dartiness that goes on. So I mean, I think it was a good move for sure. And then once Chloe gets into her work mode, it's she's a thoroughbred, man. It's hard to snap her out of it. So
yeah, so strong. Yeah. Adam, I wanted to ask you, some questions about the break, because as we were texting back and forth today about, like, is she gonna do it? Is she not? Like, I was just kind of wondering, like, how are your nerves after all that? Like, how do you do watching your rider in a break like that, especially like the biggest stage of the world? Because she's won at least one other really big race from the break, Paris-Roubaix, for those of you guys who didn't know.
She's won some big races. She won the stage at the Vuelta as well, and I believe that was either a reduced pack sprint or a small breakaway. I can't remember, but Kristen Faulkner was there to, I believe, lead her out, and that was just last year. I mean, that's a huge stage win. Paris-Roubaix, yeah, and I think whether it is, AJ or, one of my elite juniors or somebody else, when I'm, able to watch it, number one, it's just so cool that we have coverage that we can watch this stuff now. But as I texted you, I've learned to become much more stoic in that, because anything could happen, right?
Yeah.
And back, like, Paris-Roubaix, I remember watching that one, and I was actually going to a bike race, Poolsville road race, and I remember watching it and just, losing it, and our dog was like crazy, and I was so excited. But then my wife, Kristen, was like, we need to get going to the bike race, and we had like 10 minutes to leave or something like that, so I mean, yeah, I get super excited, but in this case, because they had 100K to go, with a 4-minute gap, I was like, anything can happen. So you have to like, you're excited, but you also know how it could go. Now, in this case, because she is strong right now, and she was the one, driving that ship, I think very motivated from what I saw anyway. And she's done it before. And she's also been Amstel Gold this year. Phenomenal effort there with a sixth or seventh place in the break, really working hard, doing some magic there. Also fifth in the Paris-Roubaix this year as well. So she's had some top results this year. She's actually won more, has more wins this year than I think the past couple of years. She won a couple stages at a Czech Republic stage race this past year. And got the GC there. So overall, she's rolling good. And that's why I was like, yeah, this could happen. This could happen.
Well, we've been talking about Alison behind the scenes a little bit, and you're like, she is super strong right now. And I wanted, like, how do you know? Like, what are some things that told you that she was so strong? I mean, it like behind the numbers, you don't have to reveal any like, watts per kilo or anything, but was it just her attitude, her mood, her numbers? Like,
yeah, you can geek out on numbers, but I think first one I'll say is, she won her national championship race. Okay. And so winning, being the best in the road race.
Wasn't it like a 90K solo?
That's
some kind of
so she attacked with, she attacked with 80K to go. One other came with, she attacked again and then just soloed it for, I think that was like 60K solo, 80K with one other person, and which ended up being her peak 2.5 hour power all time. So in just like a month ago, right? So when you're hitting peak power numbers, especially high aerobic numbers like that, she's strong, right? You can say for certain you are riding some of the best you've ever had before. Right now we don't have a ton of 2.5 hour time trial sort of data points, but the ability to do that is certainly telling.
She's been a pro for a while now, and she's been at the top for a while now. I mean, Paris-Roubaix winner, she's well respected in Peloton, consistent rider, consistently good. How is she still getting better at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things. One, as you get older, you get smarter, and you get smarter at racing, and you get smarter in how to take care of yourself. And I think what I've learned with working with riders, now I've been coaching for a long time now, Renee, but kind of that arc is, when you're junior, when you're young, I mean, you're just kind of all over the place, right? You're eating cookies post-ride, which some of us still do. And you just have to learn to take care of yourself, how to manage your energy, what true recovery looks like, all this kind of stuff. So I think it's part of that. I think it's part like, as you mature, as you get more, more Ks in the legs, you get deeper fitness as you get more experience too. Remember, like, racing Paris-Roubaix now, she knows exactly where to be at what moment, and she gets real stoked for that race. She's the team captain for many of the races because she has like all that experience, but incredible awareness. Kind of like she's not Tade Pogacar, but like when the awareness that Tade has, like always just knowing, who needs what, when. She's a very good communicator, and she's had to work on that. She hasn't always been like that. So I think that those are all elements to her getting better, because there's some power durations that haven't improved, but she's very close, right? There's some asterisks there too with different power meters over time, and not having any formal quote standardized testing of what I would want for a power duration B, but that's beside the point for the past 6 months. Either way, her sprint has never been better. Her long breakaway power has never been better. And it's, when you're seeing all that in training and then leading up to it, and then, like I said, getting a text message from her saying, I'm real fucking strong right now. Like, that's another data point.
Yeah. I know our listeners, our time crunched athletes are, always wondering, like, what are the pros doing? And I'm not going to ask you for too many high level secrets, But like, what kind of volume and intensity does a rider, like Alison, I mean, a Tour de France rider, like what kind of volume is she doing? Like maybe like what's her CTL going into a race like this? Can you give us some broad strokes about like what it takes to do the Tour de France Femme in terms of, kind of the level of preparation?
Yeah, I mean, there's no real secrets out there. I mean, a lot of people can read and see a bunch of stuff now. So I mean, I think like, but then like, where does it matter? Where does it hit? How can you relate? And I think CTL is one of those markers. Excuse me. And I think CTL is one of those markers because everybody knows or looks at their blue line. What's your blue line? What's your fitness number? Pop open TrainingPeaks. Fitness is right there, right? And we spoke a couple of days ago about how time crunch rider, if your fitness score is only around 50, or a lot of masters racers might be 60, 70, that's your fitness score. Okay. And all that is related to how much time you're riding at, below, or above your FTP for a given day. You rack points over a month and a half, and that's your fitness score. So that's how it's determined, right? So with Pro Tour rider, Pro Tour women's rider anyway, we'll be rolling 110 to 140 CTL for a lot of the year. And in AJ's case, we had national championships and then altitude camp right before the tour, and then came down, freshened up, and then raced the tour. So we were up at 140, I think 138 just before the tour, and then we freshened up, came in right around like 128-ish leading into the tour. But importantly, her TSB, or training stress balance, or aka freshness, was positive. It was upward trending and positive. So again, all these markers of get really fit, then get really fresh, rock and roll, away we go. I think that's super important. The other element I look at to make sure we're going good is hitting some peak numbers of some kind when we have that high fitness score.
Yeah. So I have a couple follow-up questions for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the TSS scores like for these stages?
Yeah. Well, let's take a look as I go over to her TrainingPeaks real quick.
And as you're thinking about that, I'm going to also ask, what's her TSB going to be coming out of this?
Real negative. Yeah, it's that TSB. I mean, once you're in the stage race, you just kind of it has to be what it is, right? Because the stress levels are going to be high.
Right.
So stage one was 180, 185, something like that.
That was like a super short. That was a 2-hour stage.
Right. And let's see, yesterday bigger, like 278, right? And then today was probably today more, right? So big stressors, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we hit those stressors obviously in other races, but also we hit those stressors just a couple weeks ago at altitude camp with volume. And you mentioned volume. I mean, we have recently done some 25-hour weeks. I think our biggest week this year has been 28 hours of aerobic training, and then you got strength training on top of that. So I mean, when you're a professional bike racer, you are logging hours.
Oh yeah, that's why they get paid to do this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Before we wrap up on Allie, you think she's going to be disappointed tonight, or psyched?
Yeah.
Because she got caught with 6K to go. That's why, like, close but no cigar.
Yeah. You can never keep Alison Jackson down.
Good.
First rule of life.
All right.
However, she will be mad that she didn't win. Anytime that she or her team doesn't win, she's not happy because she's an alpha female, man. She loves winning. She wants to go for it, and she doesn't get it. So sad, but like, can't keep her
down. One final question for you, Adam, on this stage today. What do you think about their pick for most aggressive rider today?
Disagree. However, I didn't see the full coverage. I didn't see how it went. And of course I have a bias in AJ. Looked like she was, rocking it, driving it, and was a big component of keeping that break or that gap, long up to the point it wasn't. Meanwhile, I think too, though, is it's important to recognize what AJ did after, like Sarah Martin attacked, and then they dropped riders, right? And then AJ was still there, got soaked up by the peloton, and then went back to work for her team. So I think, like, when you're looking at the most aggressive or the most combative, you got to look at that too, not just how the break established.
Yeah. They ended up giving the most aggressive rider to Latimer, a young French rider, in the break. She was actually the first one to get dropped, and I just kind of say, it's a French race, French rider. They want to put a French rider on the podium, but I would have been so psyched for Alison because I thought she deserved it. But no doubts that we will see her again. Soon.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's not a GC rider. For everybody like trying to understand what's going on, she's not a GC rider. She's a helper. She's a team captain, so she's going to be orchestrating a lot of moves and things like this. But in terms of being high up in the GC, not her role. Lead outs for sprints, doing hard works, and leading into key hill climbs for Kerpel. That's another role of hers. So you won't see her in the GC, but you'll see her animating the race. Okay, Renee. I mean, that was super fun, and having a stage like this, really fun to talk about one of my riders in there. And thank you for everybody listening. For me, being able to do that, but we're not going to talk about Alison Jackson every stage unless she keeps on doing what she's doing. Let's look ahead, Renee. Tomorrow, what's it looking like?
It's going to be a stage similar to today, really flat. And probably another breakaway. So we could have the little contest of, is it going to be the break or the bunch sprint? SD Work seems pretty motivated to get Wiebes her wins, because if you get Wiebes close to on these flat finishes, she's likely to win. The finish isn't as technical, so I hope no crashes. I think I'm really curious to see what happens with Demi tomorrow, if she's hurting or not. Yeah. I hope not. Because that's a shame.
Yes. Never great when you see a GC rider go down and get up as slowly as she did, with teammates pushing her to the finish line. But in terms of the stage, it's even flatter than today, and it's even shorter. So I think that definitely another Vibus stage in my fantasy Tour de France Femmes league for sure. And a day for the sprinters, I would say maybe watch some tactics from Visma. Maybe they use PFP to drive something up the road. Just try to shake Vibus, because I don't know, if I were calling the shots, I would try to shake her before. And if crosswinds come into that or something else, you can't bring Vibus to the line and think that you're going to win. Not in this group anyway.
Yeah, she's staying my pick for tomorrow too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, final question to you, Renee, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Are you having fun?
I am having fun. I got to tell you though, I don't know if I was more nervous than you were today, because I was like on pins and needles. I'm like, it's going to be great content for the pod. No, just super excited to see somebody that I am familiar with, like in front of the world, like showing off what they can do in front of the world, because we don't get to see that too often. So it's pretty awesome. And this has been fun to talk to you, talk about racing. I finally have somebody I can text to the whole entire stage, like, oh my gosh, you see what's going on? That's really why I wanted to do this.
I think it is awesome. I mean, the truth be told, for everybody listening, is this is making us extremely time crunched on the rest of our time, and Renee and I are both reducing our training hours, and we need to get back to building schedules. But I do think this is super fun. I hope audience members are enjoying it, and if you are, feel free to drop in comments. What you want to hear more of, if you're liking what we're doing, and if you have any specific questions for us. Let us know, and Renee and I will weave it into the next outline for tomorrow, and we'll keep on talking about the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift.
Thanks, Adam. I'll see you tomorrow.